Provided by somebody very special. We won't get into the details there, but we are boldly going. We're on the road, and we're giving Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
we have all sorts of strategies for that.
So
whether you have a Valentine or not, what the sleeping baby Jesus would certainly like. The little drummer boy. Yes, 12 drummers. Jesus would certainly like. The little drummer boy. Yes, 12 drummers drumming. Drumming. Yeah. It is 12th night.
Yeah, and let us know if, I know our video is probably lagging. We have a report. But let us know if our sound is coming through.
Yeah, we are operating on very low bandwidth. We are uploading video and audio over 3 megabits. I think we tested and it was coming up between 1.7 and 2.5 in actual fact. Let me get the YouTube feed up here. So I almost hate to bring the feed up to slow things down, but the download and the upload should not clash. And so let me get my chat going here. Ooh, there we go. All right. Yep, sorry about that. So yeah, it is 12th night. So those of you who celebrate the days of Christmas, we took the dinos down. The dinosaurs are down.
Oh man.
And maybe the lights will come down tomorrow, that being the Epiphany. Yes, I have an epiphany. Well, the 13th day of Christmas, when the Christmas lights come down. I don't know, because we've got, in our neighborhood, there is a tree where a skeleton remains hanging. And if people can leave their skeletons up all year, I don't know, maybe we can leave our Christmas lights on all year.
Yeah.
You do you. That's what I say about that. Here we go. I've got the chat up and running. The YouTube video looks a little blurry, but it looks like it's working. It looks,
we might be a little blurry, so you're going to need to squint.
Yes, we will not be as beautiful as you. Don't hate me because I'm beautiful. We won't be quite as beautiful as usual. Well, Amy, you're traveling without makeup, so you were concerned about that. I think you look better without makeup, but given the blurry screen, it's like, remember they used to put Vaseline on the lens of the movie cameras when the movie stars would get their close-ups because it made everybody look just beautifully dreamy. So I don't know, maybe our low bandwidth will be the Vaseline on the screen of this video.
This is the Vaseline on the lens effect. Yes. And hopefully our audio is coming through. We have a report that some words are repeating, perhaps, but it looks like it's fine now.
All right.
So that's good. Let us know.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna do one thing we tried last night. I'm gonna throttle the video down and
put more Vaseline on the lens.
Put more Vaseline. Well, no, they give a little more bandwidth to the audio to use. All right, folks, let us know. That's my chat screen. Bring that. There we go. And
let us.
All the good people are in the house.
I know all the party people.
You fine people. All right, let me just make that a little bigger. And, 12th night. Okay, real quick. So the only other holiday I've got is it's Carver Day. George Washington Carver, we celebrate on this day. There's a link in the show notes to the Henry Ford's celebration of George Washington Carver, since he did work with Henry Ford, among many other people. It seems silly because, like, if you've studied farming or if you've lived on a farm or anything, you know all about crop rotation. Well, in the early 1900s, they didn't. And George Washington Carver said, you know what? If you don't plant crops over and over or even overlapping, if you give them a year, give the soil a break, let the nitrogen replenish itself, you'll get better yields. You'll feel you feed more people. And the stories are told people were very skeptical at the time. No, I've got people to feed. I've got to have every piece of land in use all the time. No, you'll get better yields. You'll actually produce more food. Mixing it up. George Washington Carver, it's Carver Day. We celebrate that. Peanuts, soybeans, all sorts of crops. So if you are enjoying dinner, you take your hat off to the man. Yes, I have no hat on today. Again, we're on the road. I don't have any of my usual stuff, but that's okay. And that's it. Well, real quick, 3 birthdays to celebrate. It is Robert Duvall's birthday. Incidentally, all of today's birthdays, we often do birth dates, for people who are no longer
Yeah.
above ground,
Yeah,
people who are metaphysically challenged.
Yeah, I guess there's an echo going on right now.
Is there an echo going on right now?
So I think it happened right when you throttled it.
It's this, I'll bet. I'll bet it's because I brought up the YouTube window without it muted.
There you go.
Because I don't have, normally folks in the studio, we have multiple computers and each one's doing a different thing. And one of them is muted because it's showing me your chat messages. We don't have that machine, so I got to tell this one to do that. That should be better, and keep us posted. Good. And, 2 other birthdays. Again, all the birthdays today are people still alive. First of all, Robert Duvall is 94 years old today. Very cool. If you have any favorite Robert Duvall films, somehow he got the role of Boo Radley in To Kill a Mockingbird, a film I need to see again. I have not seen that in ages. But, he's been in all sorts of great films. Hayao Miyazaki, of course, I don't know if he's been in any films, but if you are a fan of Studio Ghibli, let us know your favorite Miyazaki film. It might be one we haven't seen yet. We've seen a lot of them, but there's a few we've missed. When we did our New Year's Eve special, the topic of the song Country Roads, John Denver came up. Turns out people in Japan love that song, and it's featured in a Miyazaki film.
Yep, so we've got the video frozen on Facebook.
Video's frozen on Facebook. Let's take a look. Let's take a look.
It doesn't look like we are on Facebook. It says was live, so it looks like we got kicked off of Facebook.
Oh, no.
Yep.
Wow, and it's not telling me here about that. Well, because of what we are doing, which is just a light and fun episode, I think we might have to just go with the YouTube and ignore the fact that the Facebook video is only 18 seconds long. That is unfortunate.
Sorry about that, folks.
Yeah, let me copy the YouTube
Here, I got
video
that.
link. You got that?
Yeah.
Very good. All right. One more birthday. Diane Keaton. Let us know your favorite Diane Keaton film. Another great movie star. She seems like she should be forever young. Like, why would you question whether she's still alive? No, she's actually 79 years old. Actually, Something's Gotta Give gave us a great look at the older Diane Keaton, because it plays off of the ages of the actors and actresses. Jack Nicholson, of course, playing the role of the man trying to date younger women. So yeah, your favorite Diane Keaton film, feel free to share it in the chat so we can add it to our list of movies to see. I personally, of course, will always recommend Manhattan, which she did win an Academy Award for. So it can't have been that bad. And that's it. Under Hot Topics for the week, all I've got is, it's a great day to have a great day. Happy today, friends. Also, it says here...
Yeah, it sounds like music is playing.
It sounds like music is playing. Let's see. I don't have any music playing.
Is the intro supposed to be playing that loud?
The intro is supposed to be playing at all. I'm going to close this video window. Oh, you know what? I'll bet when I brought up Facebook.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
When I went to see what was wrong with Facebook, more things became wrong. Okay, there we go. So yeah, it's a great day to have a great day. And the only other thing it says is Lez Zeppelin.
Yeah,
Not Led Zeppelin, Lez Zeppelin.
Lez Zeppelin,
Okay,
L-E-Z.
we had the most fun.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It was quite impressive. So we had 4 very musical women up on stage, just knocking everyone's socks off with their technical musical ability, playing Led Zeppelin songs. And, not just that, but they were very dramatic about it. And especially the lead singer, she was doing her best female Robert Plant impersonation. And, oh gosh, what else? The drummer was great. I gotta tell you, as a drummer myself, it's really difficult to have facial expressions when I'm drumming. I usually have kind of a deadpan face because I'm concentrating, right? This lady, she was doing all of the very difficult time signatures in Led Zeppelin songs while smiling.
Yeah,
she
may have smiled even more than John Bonham ever did. She had the best grin on her face, and she wasn't a singer. She didn't have a vocal mic, but she would sing along with the songs. She was just having such a great time.
She was great.
If you get a chance to see Lez Zeppelin, do take advantage of that.
Yeah, they are touring the country. They're going to be in New York, Connecticut, New England, the city of New England, from the Hallmark channels.
Yes.
And let's see. So no, it was really, really amazing. There were only about 30 or 40 people in the theater, and because we're in a small town here. But
that's the strange thing. We were going to see Lez Zeppelin. Well, Amy, originally you and a friend of ours had planned this, and they were playing in Motown, Southeast Michigan, where, of course, Studio Nasir is, and they were also playing in another place in Michigan. The strangest thing, a small town, Harbor Beach, Michigan. And they're like, well, Lez Zeppelin, this Led Zeppelin tribute act, they're kind of a big thing. They play all over the nation, and where they're playing in Detroit, if you know the Masonic Temple, which is incidentally the oldest Masonic temple site in the United States, it's a big concert venue. The main concert hall is big, and it would, a band like Lez Zeppelin that draws a crowd would be right to play there. And then they had a second gig scheduled in Harbor Beach, Michigan, which turns out to be, we always show you Michigan. It's like
it's in the thumb.
2/3, maybe even 3/4 of the way up the thumb of Michigan. It's way away from. If you don't know Michigan, there's nothing up here. I mean, there's small towns. There's some, you would call them small cities, or you might find a hospital in one of the really big cities. But no, it's 25 miles between things. And this band, Lez Zeppelin, is playing in the community house.
Well, it's
like the city hall kind of thing, and they have an auditorium. It looks more like a movie theater, and with maybe 30 rows on the floor.
It's a very small theater. I wouldn't call it an auditorium, and I wouldn't call it a movie theater, but it's got a proper stage on it.
It does,
and it has some spotlights going on. It's got a balcony, so it's a proper theater.
I think it might have actually been smaller than the Senior Center, where Compañeros de Flamenco just did their most recent gig.
Maybe.
Funny.
Counting the balcony.
The point is, out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Charming small town. And these 4 gals come to this little tiny theater in this little tiny town and did their whole show. We were wondering, and an afternoon show, Sunday afternoon, and we were wondering, are they going to find out that this was not the kind of thing would they cancel?
Yeah.
But they didn't. They came out and they put on a great show, and the audience was great.
Yeah.
Everybody was enthusiastic.
Our friend here actually thanked the lady who reached out and had this band come to this town and met their requirement fee. So it all worked out.
Yeah.
And it was great. And they really loved it. And there were enough diehard fans of Led Zeppelin and of this band, Lez Zeppelin, where we actually hooted and hollered and everything after they were done, and we got them out for an encore. At which time the really amazing guitar player, she brought out the theremin and she played the theremin. she was.
You might think, how is a 4-piece band without any keyboards going to do the break in the bridge in A Whole Lot of Love? And they used a theremin.
Yeah, it was very space aged.
And it worked.
Yeah.
Maybe a little longer than it should have been, but it worked, and it was startling. The whole show worked. It was very cool. So let me turn to the chat here, because again, we're on the road. We're just having fun. And Greg Lewis says, Masonic as in Freemasons? Yes, Masonic as in Freemasons. Did you know that there were people in Henry Ford's house who were Freemasons? Or at least had the Masonic creed up on the wall. It was a normal thing. It's still a normal thing.
It's still a normal
thing. To a
thing.
lot of people, it's like the Rotary Club. It's just you work with people to do good things.
It's a business guild. It's sort of like the Chamber of Commerce. But
and I'm sure Greg knows this.
Yeah.
It's just funny because a lot of people say Freemasons and think, are you talking about that eye on the top of the pyramid, on the dollar bill, and all of the conspiracies that go with that? Yeah. Well, I mean, not the hooey, but yeah.
And I'll say that Henry Ford was an honorary member of the Freemasons, but not because he was a member of the guild or anything like that, but his father was. His father was actually a member of the Freemasons because he was a farmer.
We actually toured the Masonic Temple once, and they took us up. There's different levels if you've seen the building. It's a skyscraper. And there are different levels with different Masonic organizations. You know, there's even a couple where women are allowed, and then there are a bunch where they're not. And there were a couple of rooms they wouldn't show us because there are those secret things. And, you know, they do have the room where part of the initiation is the person being initiated waits under a trap door. And when they're ready for him to come out, he comes out of the floor. I mean, they have their interesting things.
They're just party games, people.
It's just like the lodge on the Flintstones.
It's just marketing.
It's all good.
And we'll get into marketing in just a bit when we talk about the Virgin Mary. But that's one topic that I want to talk about real quick.
Yes.
About now.
Yes, it looks like we did straighten out the electronic echo, and everything there looks good.
Yeah. I'm sure we still have our Vaseline lens going, but.
And Christopher Smith says, "Hey, Mama, send the way you move." Great thing about the way that they did this concert is they did not change any genders in the lyrics. Mm-hmm. Now, they can get away with that more because they cheekily called the band Lez Zeppelin. I don't think all four of the women in the band were necessarily of that persuasion.
I don't know.
It's just cute, and it's clever.
Not be, it doesn't matter.
It could be a mix. It could be whatever. Who cares?
Yeah.
But the point is, they didn't change genders. So when they're singing Led Zeppelin songs, despite the fact that it's a woman singing, she's talking about, when I was a young man, et cetera, et cetera. So that was cool. I actually liked that. I always liked it when, and the same thing when, you can listen to Jack White sing Jolene, and he talks about, being a woman and his man. So I liked that about it. That was cool. She was good. She was really good. Yeah,
it was very dramatic. Like I said, excellent Robert Plant impersonation.
Yeah.
And the guitarist was really excellent. The guitarist was the one who actually brought the band together in the first place, probably about 15 years ago. And then
stories are told.
And then they had this really amazing bass player. My gosh. Every time I see a bass player that good, I think, wow.
You've got to start working on your chops again.
Yeah, I got to get my calluses going. And then, of course, again, the drummer was absolutely amazing. She got all of the syncopated rhythms and all of the strange time signatures down. It was great.
Yeah, you don't realize how good John Bonham was until you try to play his stuff and get the little bits, the little stuff.
Yeah.
Anybody can play, four on the floor or 4 count rock and roll, but
and I should say the drum setup was actually quite good. It was quite faithful to the sound of Led Zeppelin, at least from what I could tell.
Yeah, even though they used a lucite kit, which was neat, transparent kit. It wasn't clear, it was tinted.
It's like a purple tint.
Purple.
It's kind of cool.
I like a drum kit where you can see everything the drummer is doing. Some drummers, they have a very impressive kit, but it surrounds them and you can't actually tell what they're doing. That was cool. Very, very good. Water Buffalo Club.
Oh.
Water Buffalo Club.
That's
it's
the
Flintstones.
Yeah.
But it's funny that you mentioned that because, as I mentioned, we're on the road and in a small town in Michigan where it's cold.
It's 25 degrees and it feels like 15.
Minus 25, yeah. 25 degrees is not that cold.
Yeah, especially if you have a shirt, a sweater, a scarf, and 2 coats.
But when it's
2
dry
hoods and 2
and
hats.
windy and
and gloves and boots.
It's bracing. It's invigorating. It's not Water Buffalo Club. It's Polar Bear Club. We didn't actually go in the water. No, it is too cold on Lake Huron. Speaking of Lake Huron, did you want to show Lake Huron?
Yeah, let's go ahead and show that. So this morning I went out because I just couldn't resist. We keep hearing these waves splashing against what seems to be a shore, but it's actually they're splashing against ice. And you can see this picture here. You've got sand, which is frozen and packed, so it's really crazy. So I had to go down this ravine to get to the beach. And once I finally got out to the beach, I was absolutely, my mouth just dropped. I was in awe of everything that I saw because I've never actually seen anything quite like this before. It was like an alien terrain, like an alien landscape from a different planet. There were rocks everywhere. There were mussel shells. There was sand. There was dead fish bones, and it was really just. And there, of course, there were rocks, larger rocks in the water. Lake Huron is a pretty shallow lake, but it's a massive, so you can't see the other side of it. So when we talk about lakes in Michigan, we're talking about basically small seas or, places you cannot see the other side of. And so you've got this beautiful horizon line. It's all cloudy. We actually got up to see the sunrise, but we couldn't see anything because of the clouds. So it's nothing. So I go out there, I brave this terrain. I think to myself, I might hurt myself, whatever. I just keep going at it and go slow. And I finally get out to this beach, and it was just like I said, my mouth just dropped open, my eyes were wide, and I couldn't believe it. And I just felt this real rush of emotion because it was just beautiful. It was something I've never seen before in my life. Nothing quite like that have I ever experienced. I've been on beaches before. I've been in cold weather before. I've tramped through snow before, whatever. But this was very different, walking on frozen beach.
And you went out there before I did.
Yeah.
So I was here where it was warm, and you were there where it was cold.
Yeah.
Which lends additional evidence to the saying that men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Because you were on Venus and I was in Mars.
Well, I was on a frozen beach. See, yes. There's another picture there.
Yeah. So there's Venus.
Yeah. So you would get these waves coming up and just splashing against the ice. And it just makes a really peculiar sound. And it's just beautiful. It was absolutely gorgeous. It was breathtaking. Yeah, and then later I had to tromp up some old rickety staircase to get back up because I didn't know that there was a better way to get up. But it was wonderful. So yeah, and by the way, I basically suited myself up like an astronaut because, like I say, it was really, really cold. Yes. Yeah, Greg, yeah, you're right. 18 degrees here near Motown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're having a great time on the road.
It's wonderful.
We're being hosted by somebody very gracious and kind and charming. And so, yeah, it's not the usual thing today, not the usual show.
And this is not a
fake fireplace.
Not a YouTube video behind us.
Which might sound silly, except, over the Christmas holidays, you did see the fake fireplaces, which were obviously fake fireplaces since they were not just behind us, but several feet off the ground.
I'm getting super toasty, by the way.
Are you?
I am.
Okay, good. Well, what else is going on in the chat?
Oh, let's see here. So, just clever and intelligent commentary from our viewers.
That's interesting, because Akira says, well, I like mixed bands, but I'm more into old-fashioned way, all men or all women.
Mm. Yeah.
So girl groups or guy groups.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the mix-up. I like seeing it. It really comes down to the stage presence and how good are they at playing for me.
Yeah.
But that is interesting. Sheldon Cooper, Christopher Smith says, plays the theremin. It's one of the few musical instruments I've never owned. No. I came close because I built a tone generator and then hooked it up to a CDS, a cadmium sulfide cell, which meant you could wave at it, and it would work similar to a theremin, but it was by light and not just by the presence of your hands.
Yes.
So that was close, man. Maybe I should redo that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so anyway, fine folks, we're getting towards the half-hour mark.
Yeah. And again, we're not going to go long, but Amy, you had something you wanted to say about the Virgin Mary?
The Virgin Mary. But before I do, actually, let me just answer a question. Jason says, are we going to Rand's Day in Florida? I don't think we are. I don't think we're going to be able to do that. So you guys have fun.
We've got a lot going
to Rand's Day.
It would conflict with some other events.
Yeah.
And to be honest, for a weekend, it's kind of pricey.
Yeah.
As I remember, anyway, I thought it was a little expensive, but I'd have to look again to see.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I mean, we go to Ocon, so obviously, we're willing to pay for a good week's worth of fun.
So tonight is 12th night. So
night.
it's the 12th day of
Christmas.
Christmas. So there's drummers drumming. Actually, we saw a drummer and she was drumming. All right.
One of the things about watching a band like that is it makes you want to go home and play.
My gosh. She was really, really, really good. And she reminded me of Janet Weiss, who, when she was with Sleater Kinney, gosh, what a
still
so
the best
good.
woman drummer out there. One of the best drummers, period. But
Yes.
12th night. Now,
12th
night is not just the 12th day of Christmas. It's the name of a play by Shakespeare that I haven't read yet. But what else?
So anyway, on Christmas Day, they would serve a 12th night cake because basically the idea here is this is in the medieval times. They would have a cake, basically. It was basically a fruit cake with yeast in it, with royal icing and some brandy. Great stuff, right? You put a bean in there, like a hard dried bean and a dried pea. Whoever received the dried bean in their slice would be the Lord of Misrule, and whoever would get the pea would be the Lady of Misrule. Misrule. So you could, basically be king for a week or king for the 12 days of Christmas. Tonight would be the night that it would end.
And if you're the Lord of Misrule, are you expected to cause trouble?
Yes, you are. And I mean, you are basically a servant in a house, in a manor house, perhaps, or something like that.
Elevated to the master for a week?
Yes, you become the master.
Nice.
And that would be really, really fun to do in corporations, I think. But we'll see. Who knows if that'll ever catch back on.
Makes me think of the mummers.
Yeah.
The jokers over the Christmas holiday.
Yeah, they would go around and do plays and things, and they would basically go door to door asking for alcohol to fill up their wassail bowl, and they would drink a lot and probably pass out in the street. But yeah, so anyway, so I've been thinking about the Virgin Mary. So I have I should have given you a picture, but I have, one of those nativity scenes that, is like yay big or so, like less than a foot wide, that my mom owned, and she wanted me to have it. I was raised Catholic, and I don't know what to do with this. I don't know what to do with this nativity scene that my mom bequeathed to me. You've got the Virgin Mary. She's like this. She's got blonde hair, and she's wearing blue. And you've got Joseph, and he's aghast and he can't believe himself. And you've got the baby. And you've got the baby Jesus, and he's looking all cherubic, and he's got his hands up like this. And you've got the ox and the ass, because they're in a manger, in a manger. So I don't know what to do with this. It's really old. It's dilapidated. I don't know. Let me know in the chat what you think. If you were given a nativity scene from your beloved parent or somebody, a loved one, and they wanted you to have it, what would you do with it? I thought about possibly sprucing it up and adding some dinosaurs, but let me know in the chat what you might do.
I must admit, I'd be challenged to hang on to something like that. I'd have a hard time discarding
remember it was a childhood memory.
Yeah.
But really, I grew up Catholic again. Of course, Christmas is about, Jesus is the reason for the season, all this. And then you get to the Virgin Mary and you're like, Immaculate Conception. This is Jesus's birthday. This was the day that Mary allegedly had given birth and went through labor pains and all of that good stuff.
Christmas, we'll give it to a church or something or someone.
I don't know. Well, thank you. It's helpful.
Great advice. My first thought is get rid of it, but create a ritual. We have a ritual, for example, when an American flag needs to be discarded. There's a whole process you go through, something that you say, I think you burn it, but in a certain way, and maybe there's a a proper way to discard
Yeah,
a family heirloom.
Yeah, you burn it or bury it. I don't know. So yeah, Kira says you can paint them and dress them up. I actually thought of that, and but then I'm like, God, where can I find the time to do this? And so anyway, but I've been thinking about the Virgin Mary and what short shrift she got. Let me just give you a little rundown about the history of why we are even talking about the Virgin Mary. Why are we even talking about
Why
the Virgin
are we
Mary?
even
talking about Christmas and the nativity and all of this? This because in the first couple of centuries of Christianity, they needed to spruce things up. They were basically worshiping saints, the people who wrote the different chapters of the Bible and all that. And they needed to shake things up a little bit.
They needed some better celebrities. Somebody more interesting and inspiring.
Get the woman's vote. Get more women into the fold, but don't give them any power, right? So, what are you going to do?
They've been doing what they were doing for a couple hundred years, and the ratings were starting to decline.
So so around, so there's different points around the 3rd and 4th centuries where there was Pope Gregory was involved, the Council of Ephesus. There was, I think, Constantine had something to do with instituting Christmas. Just the whole idea, when Christmas came around and they said, well, we're going to say it's December 25th, they couldn't really ignore or brush over the fact that Jesus was born of a woman. And that's actually what it says in the Bible. And Galatians 4:4. But, why is it, there's really no honest reason, I think, that anybody wrote down why they decided to bring Mary into this parade of saints, as it were. And according to the Catholic Church, the question is, when did people start worshiping Mary? According to Catholicism, you're still going to have people who don't know any better. They don't really understand. Here it says, basically, they would deny that Mary is worshipped or even prayed to. But that if you venerate her directly, if you worship her directly, that's wrong. But if you basically venerate her through her to God or Jesus or three gods in one, then it's going to be just fine. It's a little convoluted and everything like that, but they just wanted to be sure that you're not actually worshiping a woman, worshiping a saintly woman, as it were. And I just thought that was giving her a little short shrift there. But I also, it's just one of these things where, I kind of wonder if it took a dive in like the 3rd century. If Christianity was it's not really catching on all that well. So let's go ahead and bring in, let's
hot chicks.
Yeah, let's bring in a hot chick. No. Let's replace Saturnalia during the time of solstice with Christmas, and then build a story around the Virgin Mary. And of course, this is 300 years after Jesus lived, allegedly. So it's very interesting how people have venerated the Virgin Mary. And I think it's unfortunate. And I think, it's just very strange to me. So, let me know if you have any thoughts about that. Let me know if you've ever had any experience with studying who the Virgin Mary is in the first place, or if you were raised Catholic. And some people, like I say, they pray to Mary, and they don't know any better. They ask her for the goodies like they would Santa. And it's interesting. So
while you were out on the ice on the beach, did you hear the wind cry Mary?
No, didn't cry Mary.
Okay, well,
it cried, I am cold.
Christopher Smith is quoting the Hendrix tune. So.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. So it's very interesting, and and I was actually talking to my friend earlier, and I talked about there's a really good documentary, I think by BBC or PBS or something like that, about Notre Dame and how they venerated the saints, and they had this, what I think it was called a choir wall, and it was basically literally a wall with doors in it that separated the mass, the actual priests, and the choir. With the plebes, aka the worshipers, the people who were in the pews. And then Notre Dame, they actually found that there was this choir screen that was demolished. I'm not entirely sure which year or why, but it was during a time when people were criticizing the Catholic Church and saying, you need to have more of a direct relationship, a personal relationship with Jesus, and not have all of these secret masses going on behind the scenes that parishioners have they have no idea about. So, but yeah, it's interesting. All of these interesting stories. So yeah, I'm still at a loss for what to do with my nativity scene from my mom. And we'll see. I'll let you know. I'll give you an update what I should do about it, what I might be doing, or if I should just pitch it. We shall see.
All right. Well, put me on team pitch.
Okay.
And then go to a rock concert. Religion. A history of religion is interesting, can be interesting, and there are ways you can relate it to the present day, but you also have to remember it's the history of a religion. And, there have been a lot of religions throughout history. And even though Christianity is the dominant religion today, it's just another one of those religions.
Yeah.
I guess it is interesting, this idea that they had, that you should venerate saints but only worship God. Or gods, if you believe in three gods in one.
Yes. Who are they again? God, Jesus, Son of God, and the Holy Ghost.
The Holy Ghost, the Holy Spirit, who is somehow not God, but also is God. Like
Yes.
Jesus, who's not God, but is God, but is not, but he is.
But yeah, I mean, the Catholic Church has held on to a lot of pagan beliefs and tried to bring them over to convert people. And this is just another instance of it. Very strange.
So Jim, who has found us, because I know he was on the Facebook side of things when Facebook said, says, the person I really feel sorry for is Jesus Christ. Nobody ever asked him if he wanted the job. Well, who would have asked him? His dad, who is him, but is also his dad and is not him. It can't be separate. Christianity is a monotheistic religion. There's only one God.
Yeah, I wonder if...
It's the mystery of the Trinity.
I wonder if Jesus had any period of awkward adolescence or rebellious teenage years. And he said,
some people say him and Mary Magdalene, who was not his mother Mary, had times.
Yeah.
Had good times.
They had good times. They had romance, perhaps.
Listen to Mary's song in Jesus Christ Superstar.
Oh.
Yeah. She's all like, he's just a man. Okay, Mary, cool.
Yes, Jesus Christ Superstar is Catholic canon, if
Jesus
you don't
was
know
a man.
that.
He also wasn't a man, but he was a man, but he wasn't.
Yeah. So anyway. So it's the last day of Christmas.
It's the last day of Christmas. It's 12th night. Amy has been investigating the Mother Mary, who you should venerate but not worship.
Otherwise, Zeus will strike you down.
Is somebody tell me the difference? No, don't tell me the difference. I think I know as much as I want to know. Yes.
Yes.
Greg Lewis says, now I want a mint. I guess I haven't been following the chat close enough because I would think that you would want a wafer.
You'd want a wafer.
Oh, we told the story. The last time that we were in a church was the Old Mariners Church in downtown Detroit.
Yeah.
Right next door to the Renaissance Center. And we happened to go in because it's the Old Mariners Church. We got to check that out. We're downtown.
Yeah, and it was...
Except it was the week before Easter.
It was the Easter sermon, or like before Easter.
So they held communion during the services, and they said, please let us know if you would prefer a gluten-free wafer.
Well, it was printed on the little...
Printed on the program.
Yeah.
A gluten-free wafer. Do you have Jesus intolerance? A gluten intolerance? I'm sorry, folks. I know, Amy, you find these stories very interesting. I find it very hard to take it all terribly seriously. The local church.
Take it serious. I don't.
Well, you've actually ordered communion wafers online and used them with salsa, was it? Chips and salsa? Wafers and salsa?
Don't tell anybody, otherwise I'll be excommunicated.
Oh, that's true. We don't want you to get thrown out of the Catholic Church. They're probably like the Mormons, where once you're in, you're always in. They keep you in the books.
No, yeah, it's true.
Or is that the LDS, or are they the same? Or is it the Jehovah's Witnesses who run Ancestry.com? I forget. No, that is the Mormons.
Yeah, so Stephen says, I like the scene in Talladega Nights where Will Ferrell prayed to baby Jesus and he had a debate with family about which Jesus to pray to. And everyone's like, I see Jesus as a ninja. He's really badass and he'll come down and he'll,
whoop ass.
Without anybody even realizing he's there.
How are you going to fight sin if you can't whoop ass?
That's right. I see Jesus, a little baby.
That was a funny film.
So cute, so sweet.
And early Amy Adams, if you're an Amy Adams fan.
Oh, is Amy Adams? Oh, yeah, I think she's in there, yeah.
Although she plays a role that's a little too much like, who's the actress in The Mask? The nerdy one who you assume is shy, and that makes her the good girl.
Right.
But she turns out to be not the good girl. And
that's right.
I'm not going to give any more spoilers.
Don't
Some of you
spoilers.
Haven't seen Talladega Nights yet. But yes, that is a funny scene. Thank you.
Yes, Apollo. I did use communion wafers with salsa.
And Paul says, well, maybe Jesus didn't eat gluten. I don't know. Is it in the Bible? I haven't read my Bible in more years than I even want to admit I'm alive. So,
and I gotta say, I'm actually, you know what? I have an epiphany, as it were. Tomorrow is the epiphany. I'm gonna make sure I have some gold, some frankincense, and some myrrh. But no. What I'm trying to say is, I'm actually kind of glad and kind of a little bit relieved that Christianity brought in the whole story of the Virgin Mary, and that people do, unknowingly or knowingly, pray to or worship directly the Virgin Mary, because they needed a little bit of beauty in their stories. There was so much crucifixion, so much blood, so much eating the body of Christ, so much drinking the blood of Christ. Just how disgusting.
After you make everybody feel dirty and guilty, you then have to give them something to draw them in. We've also got all this other stuff. Yeah,
we were at the Detroit Institute of Arts recently, and we happened to be in like this Renaissance area of the Christian theocracy sort of artwork, and some of the artwork was just downright. It was embarrassing. I'm like, so I turned to Robert and I said, I feel embarrassed for humanity. If aliens came down and actually saw this room full of this grotesque artwork, I mean, that's humiliating. This should not be representing humanity.
You'd have to see the brutish Mother Mary and the Sicilian mafia-looking little Jesus. Give me some of that. He's trying to get milk in the obvious way.
And I think there was a scene where nuns were like kind of like vultures, sort of like going around Jesus, who I think just rose out of the cave or something, and he's all gross looking, and I don't know. It was just not good. So anyway, Christianity, thanks for bringing in the Virgin Mary. It kind of spruced things up.
Yes. Oh, and Stephen, the actress I have in mind is not the Cameron Diaz character, although if you've seen the film, you know the reversal that happens there, but the other female lead, who I cannot remember, but should. Because we did talk last week about how Amy, you and I tend to go for the smart girl over the blonde bombshell.
Oh, yeah.
And The Mask turns that on its head. Yes.
I haven't seen that movie in a long, long time.
No, neither have I, but it sticks with you.
Yeah, Jim has some movie recommendations. His favorite Robert Duvall movie is Secondhand Lions. I've never seen that.
Let's add that to our list.
All right, thank you. And other one is with Diane Keaton in The Godfather. Funniest one that he's seen her in is Woody Allen's Love and Death. I don't think I've seen that either.
Good.
Yeah.
Don't know that we'll see The Godfather. I can't remember if I've ever actually... Did we watch it?
Yeah.
It's so much not my thing.
Remember it. I watched it and I'm like, this is not memorable for me.
Well, it's a great story about how evil corrupts even people with good intentions.
Terrible.
I don't want to see a story about how evil corrupts people even with good intentions. I just don't want that in my life. But I get it. It's very compelling. It's very interesting. Yeah. And, some of the best movies have that kind of complex theme. You don't want every movie to be simplistic and have an all too easy Hollywood ending. And certainly with the Godfather films, you don't get that. So.
Yes.
Cool. Very cool. Yes, Love and Death is a parody of Russian literature. That's right, Stephen.
Yeah.
War and Peace, Love and Death.
Well, Steven says that Secondhand Lions is similar to Big Fish, and I remember really enjoying Big Fish. That was with Ewan McGregor.
Yeah, Big Fish was fun.
Yeah.
That was interesting. It was a big fish story, of course.
Yeah.
So did we cover everything that we wanted to get in on this?
I think we did.
On the road, impromptu, totally unscripted, off the cuff. What other metaphors do I have for no idea what you're doing?
Even if it's 25 degrees out.
Even if it's 25 degrees out.
Find a river or a lake or an ocean or whatever it may be and go there and look at the shoreline and see the waves come in. It's really, really mesmerizing, and it'll just lift all of your troubles off of your shoulders.
That's right.
And I highly recommend it.
We've come to the sea to see what we could see, and we saw what we saw. And we recommend that you do the same. That's it. It's a show from the road. We'll wrap it up here and wish you all a happy January 5th. We'll be back next week with a much better planned and scripted show, but this was fun. We are glad that you joined us, and hopefully the bandwidth was enough that at least on the YouTube side things looked and all that okay.
Yeah.
I saw most of the chat. I will save what's left and read it after the fact. Yeah, Kira says The Godfather is intense but boring. There's a mix that intense but boring. I totally get that because again, those conflicts, they're very real. And I'm like, that is so not my universe. It's not my world.
Yeah.
And I don't want the world to be like that.
Right.
The less, there are still organized crime organizations and families. The less impact they have on the world, the more and more that stuff goes away, the better the world is. But again, it was all it's kind of like royalty. We were talking about British royalty, the monarchy. And they really should have ended the monarchy after Prince Charles' mother died. Instead of making him king, he should have said, okay, we're done with all of that. We're not going to tear down Windsor Castle. We're not going to just destroy everything. But as far as a governing body, since in many, many ways, we're not really the governing body anymore, we're just going to end it. Mm-hmm. And that's what needs to happen to the mafia, and it's what needs to happen to the British monarchy. And I don't mean to draw any comparisons between the two other than that.
Right. And lastly, what I'll say is that since the fire is dying down here behind us.
The fire is slowly dying.
My dear, we're still goodbying.
But since we've no place to go, we could do the other one, the more rapey one, where baby, it's cold outside.
That's not a rape song.
It's not a rapey song. We've talked about it on the show before.
Anyway,
and maybe next Christmas, 2025, we'll do that again.
One more time. Since the fire is going out behind me,
yes.
I will end with, do not let your fire go out, spark by irreplaceable spark, in the hopeless swamps of the not quite, the not yet, and the not at all.
I can't beat that. All I'm going to say is join us again next week for 5 Minutes with Robert and Amy Nasir. Thank you for being here. If you want to support the show, you know what to do. Go to robertnasir.com, scroll all the way past all the videos down to the bottom of the page where you will see links to both PayPal and Patreon. Thank you to our patrons. So those of you who support us every month with a couple dollars or a bunch of dollars, I can't thank you enough, so I won't even try. No, thank you. Thank you enormously. Here, kisses and hugs and everything to you. And we will be back next week because of your support for the show. Don't have any spare change in your pocket? Do it for free. Like the show. Click like on YouTube. Share it with your friends. Share it with your enemies. You never know what those strange people might be into. And that's it. All that's left is for me to wish you every success that you so richly deserve. The opportunity to go to faraway places with strange-sounding names and have adventures different than what you do on a day-to-day basis. And then get back and have everyday adventures too. Oh yeah, by the way, also, we wish you love.